They've done the therapy, they've done the strategy, they have a lot of training and a lot of experience. So it also was very perplexing to them that the ways that they used to go forward in the world didn't seem to be working this time around. And there'd be a thread of literally the same dynamic in every single experience that they were having of going, oh my God, I just feel like I'm walking around the block with myself. I do all of the things and I keep finding myself feeling like I'm in the same place.
What if the best chapter of your life hasn't even begun yet? What lies within you is the power to live brighter, bolder, and truer than ever before. So welcome to Vivatude, where caregiving, connections, and career come into balance, and where your vitality, vision, and voice shines through. Because the revolution isn't out there, it's already within you. Welcome to Vivatude.
Welcome back to Vivatude, where we dive into the emotional and spiritual side of living a vibrant, authentic life. I'm your host, Lauren Archer, and I'm glad you're here for another soulful conversation about what it means to really be alive. Today, we are exploring some of those invisible patterns that quietly shape our lives, the ones that keep showing up over and over again and get us stuck. My guest is Rebecca Rama Devi Prien, and she's the author of This Again? Untangle the root of what distracts and derails you from your life's work. Rebecca is an accomplished attorney turned spiritual teacher and business advisor whose work bridges intellect, energy, and ancient wisdom. In her book, Rebecca reveals that no matter how many ways our struggles appear on the surface, there's usually one core issue at the root, a karmic knot that keeps looping through our experiences. It's stubborn, it's elusive, and it can't be fully resolved at the mental level alone. So we are going to talk with Rebecca about what that karmic knot really is, why it resists ordinary change efforts, and how this ancient practice can help untangle it in a way that goes straight to the root of what we've been seeking all along. So let's dive in. Rebecca, welcome to Vivatude. And to begin, can you share a little bit about what first opened your eyes to this realization that so many of us get stuck in the same way, and yet it can trace back to one core knot at the root?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so delighted to be here. It really was a process of witnessing what was happening as I was working with clients. So, to give you a little bit of background, yes, I have been an attorney for 25 years, nearly, and I've owned my own practice for 15 of those 25 years. I also, for the last 10 years, have been working with business owners around their business model, their intellectual property, and really creating a business that works at a very deep level for them. That is the work they want to do, the way they want to do it, and that bridges kind of multidisciplinary interests, all of their talents, all of their training, all of their interests into something that's coherent and cogent. And what I started hearing over and over again is that my clients knew what their work was. They knew what the next iteration of it was. They knew how those seemingly disparate parts of it went together. And there was something that was keeping them from acting upon it. And as we worked together around this thing that kept acting upon, that kept them from acting upon what they already knew deep within themselves. And, these are people that they have the strategy, right? They've done the therapy, they've done the strategy, they have a lot of training and a lot of experience. So it also was very perplexing to them that the ways that they used to go forward in the world didn't seem to be working this time around. Um, and as we would work around this, and they would tell me different stories and different things that would pop up, and there'd be a thread of literally the same dynamic in every single experience that they were having when we really sat with what's the truth of what's happening right now? What's the truth of what you want? Um, and what is it that you can let go of, right? What's asking for your attention and what wisdom does it have? And it ended up being the same thing. And it happened again and again and again until several years ago, I was like, oh my God, it's literally one thing. We think it's all these other things, and it's literally one thing.
So what I'm hearing is you've identified a particular pattern with accomplished business owners who have kind of a bigger mission, a bigger picture, especially people who've done a lot of personal growth work. So
Yeah.
people who have gone to the classes and done the things and they understand the strategy, and yet there's something, and you're identifying this pattern amongst multiple people, not just one. So tell me a little bit more about that. How did you get to that, and how does that map with your work over these last 10 years doing your own personal development and spiritual growth?
I'm not quite sure how to answer that in a different way than I've already answered. What's
Okay.
coming up as you're speaking, though, is the recognition that even for those people who have experienced the book, read the book, for example, um, and are encountering it in their own life outside of the context of perhaps identifying as a high achiever, or perhaps wanting to make a next step or a shift or a change in the expression of their work in the world, is that everyone seems to recognize that this again, that experience of going, oh my God, I just feel like I'm walking around the block with myself. I do all of the things, and I keep finding myself feeling like I'm in the same place,
Mm, that's a subtle energetic difference.
right?
Yeah.
It's not just that it's the same pattern on the outside that I'm experiencing, right? So sometimes it's the same pattern that we're experiencing in the world. We show up and we feel like the dynamics that we're running into with people are the same, or we feel like we're running up against the same relationship that we have with our own, energy, our own relationship with food, our own, relationship with money, our um, very concrete things.
Hmm.
But internally, it usually feels like that level of, oh my God, why am I back here again? I'm so perplexed. The other way it comes up, and this isn't specific to um, moving forward or making a change in business context, is that I've heard a lot of women say, every time I go to turn toward my own thing, right? What's important to me that I know in my heart I want to be doing, whether that's my creative work, you know, something else. I do something else. I pick up the laundry. I, right? I get a phone call from a child. Most of my clients have adult children, but even so, something happens with my partner or my aging mom, or and all of a sudden I'm organizing all kinds of other elements in life, and that part that is core to me being me and my purpose, I seem to be putting aside. And even when those external elements are not present, so someone else in my life is not calling and asking for something, there's not, you know, a circumstance that I need to address, I create the circumstance instead of turning toward my creative work, as an example. And everybody has their own thing that is the stand-in, that I'm making the creative work the stand-in for. And we tend to find ourselves doing it again and again.
So I want to make this relatable for,
Yeah.
especially like women in midlife. Okay, we're juggling career and raising children, young or adult, and maybe we've got parents that are, that we're taking care of, and we find ourselves wanting to pursue something that's meaningful for us, wanting to pursue a particular hobby or a passion or a piece of work or a creative endeavor, and we start, we get things in place to head in that direction, and then either we get derailed by something in the outside world, or we do it to ourselves. We're like, oh, look, I gotta go take care of this laundry right now. Oh gee,
Right.
there's all this organization that needs to be done. Is that kind of the essence of the experience?
It can be. It could be one expression of it. You know, I
Hmm.
I I recently itemized a list of the most common ways that my clients experience it.
Oh, I'd love to
Um,
hear that.
sure. So one way is they feel like they have to get out in front of things. Do you know what I
Oh,
mean by that? Like, okay, you feel this circumstance coming toward you, and you're like, how am I going to take care? How am I going to anticipate all the things that could happen? And how am I
uh-huh.
going to get out in front of it so that it doesn't run me over, so that everyone's taken care of, so that I'm not feeling any of the things that I don't want to feel: anger, shame, fear, responsible. So that's one way that it
Hmm.
shows up. Another way that it shows up is what I call the heading it off at the pass, which is one of my favorite ways that it shows up, which is not allowing things to come into fruition before we decide that something else needs to be done. So we have plans for something, or again, I'll put it in the context of, the business context in which I work with people. They have a new project, line of work, etc., that's launching. And before it's done and in the world and has a moment to actually proliferate and go out into the world, they go, oh, I must need to change this. Oh, I must need to change that. Oh, maybe what else can I do? Oh, maybe it's not working. Oh, this was the wrong thing to do. And we cut it off at the pass before it actually even matures.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I resemble that remark.
You
I've done.
resemble that one? Yeah, that's one of my favorites. A nice cousin to that is the feeling like you don't know enough, or there must be something that you don't know, right? And you go seeking for the answer to what you don't know. I must be wrong about this. Everybody else must have the answer. They've got a clue, right? They've got the ticket, right? The golden key that I don't understand. Somehow I've missed something.
Right.
And if I
Or we have
just
to take
find,
another class or another workshop or
yes, and that's
another
the way it
credential.
mostly shows up for my clients, is
Yeah.
credentialing. I need
Yeah.
more information, I need more credentials, I need more education, I need more training. Meanwhile, you know, you've got this entire well of experience, wisdom, and training that is not being fully utilized, that you can draw upon. So we tend
Yeah.
to cut it off that way. And then I'd say one of the most popular ways is honestly a sense of doing it all yourself, that you have to do it all yourself, that you're alone, somehow abandoned by the sacred, by life, right? That the flow of life doesn't include you and supporting you and your needs. And again, that can come in the form of not feeling supported by the team in your business, by your partner, by your family members, by your colleagues. But it also can come even in the face of that support, right? With a sense of, this isn't working out correctly. I put in all of this effort, um, and I'm still feeling exhausted, unrewarded,
Hmm.
etc. So those are the most common ways that it shows up. And what I name in the book, and I know we haven't done a lot of background about the book, so or the perspective or worldview from which I'm
Yeah, yeah.
speaking of this. So this might be a little early to name this, but all of those four things are really close to what is a universal one thing. And that is the sense, this very human experience of feeling separate from the sacred, feeling separate from life itself. That somehow we are over here and the rest of what's happening is here and we're forgotten. And
Yeah.
it's a very universal, seems to be a universal human experience.
And I think even more so in Western culture today, I think it's with our mechanistic worldview and the way many of us have been taught about science and Newtonian physics. it is very separate. It's mechanical. There's a lot of mental focus, and so I agree that we it's almost like a core wound where we are not feeling included with life itself, and we don't have those relationships nurtured. So we are going to come back and go deeper. I want to hear more about the book, how it formed, and the ancient practice that you have used to help so many of your clients get past these self-inflicted beliefs that keep us stuck, keep derailing us from the work that we want to do. So we'll be right back with Rebecca Prien. This is Vivatude, and I'm your host, Lauren Harcher.
And thanks for listening to Vivatude. 4 hosts, 1 each week. We help you revivitude your next chapter because purpose, passion, and prosperity isn't out there. They're already within you. Brighter, bolder, truer. Vivatude.